Welcome to the Slam Jam Wrestling Show here on the Extreme Improv Xstreamed channel. So, on tonight's show, we're going to be discussing all kinds of things that are going down in the world of professional wrestling, and we will also be having some fun and games, which will include some questions, some answers, some improv, some bad impressions, and maybe something else, as we try to determine who is this week's Slam Jam Wrestling Champion. So, first things first, we're going to start off with the introductions round. We're going to meet this week's contestants, and they are going to give us a random wrestling trivia fact in the quest for a bonus point. Starting with Dave Green. Say hello to the people.
Hello to the people. Yes, I'm Dave Green, and my random wrestling fact is one I've had stored up for a while because it's been on sort of like the bottom of my list, and I couldn't find out any other ones. So my wrestling fact is this: that in the Royal Rumble match. In the 1998 Royal Rumble match, that is the least amount of wrestlers in a Royal Rumble match on pay-per-view, not including the very first one, which only had 20. But the Royal Rumble match of 1998 has the least amount of wrestlers.
Okay, can I predict why?
Yes, of course.
Is this the Three Faces of Foley one?
It is that, but it's also something else.
Ooh.
So Mick Foley played, obviously there are three characters in there, so that's what, so that's 30, so that's Cactus Jack, Mankind, Dude Love, so that makes 27. But this one, Royal Rumble, had 26 wrestlers in it.
26 wrestlers?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why. Anyone? TJ, Andrew, do you know why?
No.
They had done an angle earlier in the night where Stone Cold Steve Austin was attacking people and all that sort of stuff, and some of the wrestlers were trying to find him to attack him as well, and they mistook one of the DOA for Steve Austin. So either a ball or skull was taken out by a bunch of wrestlers accidentally, and he didn't make it to his part in the Rumble.
Wow, how about that?
When no one entered and everyone thought it was Stone Cold because they thought they got to him, but they hadn't.
Do you know what, Dave? Bonus point there. I like that. That's a good trivia fact. Okay, next up on the show we have Andrew. Say hello to the people and give us a random wrestling trivia fact.
Hello, people. I don't do Slam Jam that often these days. I keep forgetting a trivia fact.
You're a tiny bit quiet, but keep going.
All right. Can't think of one off the top of my head. Oh, does anyone remember Mei Ying?
Yes.
Do you mean Mae Young?
No, not Mei. No.
Yes,
NXT.
the sort of Oriental god character, isn't it? The one that was on the
Yeah.
throne.
For anyone wondering where she is now, she's Wendy fucking Chu.
Who's that?
What is a Wendy Chu?
Wendy Chu is the wrestler.
I think it's like an illness you get.
Isn't
One
that
of the reasons
under
I'm no longer
the fans?
Wow.
one of the reasons I'm no longer watching NXT 2.0.
Yeah. Do you know, I don't think I've seen NXT 2.0. I saw In Your House, and basically the time I saw it before that was at WrestleMania.
She wrestled on In Your House.
Yeah, I don't. You think I actually pay that much? They come on very late at night, Dave. Very late at night. Okay, Scooby Doo. TJ, hello.
When I joined a little late and I heard you guys talking about Scooby and Shaggy, so I decided to change my name to Scooby Doo. Speaking of people sleeping, here's my wrestling trivia. Do you know Andre the Giant once fell asleep during a match? I think it was against. Okay, I don't know against whom, but he did fell asleep. It was against Big John Studd. He fell asleep during a match, and it's... So yeah, since we are talking about Wendy Chu, the sleeping person...
Do you just mean that Big John Studd got him in a sleeper hole, and they did the sort of spot there, or...
I don't know, I didn't see the match, but apparently it's said that he fell asleep during a match.
Joe, loads of people fall asleep during CM Punk matches, but I can't quite figure out why. Yeah.
Or Kenta matches.
Well, there you go. Okay, so no bonus point there. Right, so we're going to start off with like some of the breaking news because it's unavoidable. There's been a lot of things going down in the world of professional wrestling. Normally, big news happens as soon as we have finished the show. So for the very idea that some things seem to have happened like leading up to the show, I think we should actually talk about them. And so, yes, here it is.
Can I add something to that?
Jesus, my
We
big
haven't started
intro.
yet.
Yeah, okay,
No,
go on,
no.
add something to it.
So, okay, I'm gonna be
Add
honest.
something to the thing we haven't actually started yet.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I came back home a while ago, so I didn't really know any facts, and I was actually googling trivia facts. That's how I came up with the. But since my browser was opened, this just in. Kevin Dunn is being investigated. He's also involved in the Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis thing with the secretary, which I'm assuming you guys have heard of. Kevin Dunn is apparently also being investigated in that thing.
Yeah, so the key word there is also. So we were going to get to this, but also what? So obviously, the biggest news, like this has been a crazy week. So Jeff Hardy was obviously arrested, and so he's been, I believe, suspended without pay from AEW and missed out on the triple threat tag team ladder match last night. Off the Triple Mania card as well. Lots of stuff happening around Hardy. And then like legal troubles and things have been the big thing this week. Obviously the biggest one, overtaking the Hardy story in fact. Vince McMahon apparently paid off some former employee who he had some kind of affair with. And John Laurinaitis is involved, and lots of people are like, there's some independent investigation from the board of the WWE into what's going on. It's crazy stuff. Someone, Dave, tell us things. What's your take on any of this?
Well, I mean, it just adds to the conspiracy that the entire series that's on Scotland again. What's it called? I forgot what it's called now.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring.
No. Thing. What's it called? It's the show with. I just had it in my head. Literally had it in my head.
Okay.
But there's a TV show that.
Heels.
First word sounds like
nothing.
Heels.
No. There's nothing to do with
Gilmore Girls.
This show has nothing to do with wrestling itself, but it does involve a rich family that are trying to and everyone's like the father is the head of this international media congregation, and the kids are variously trying to upheave them.
That's like 70% of American shows.
Hang on, Andrew, what was the show?
Succession.
Okay, bonus point, Andrew. You got it. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Right. Okay. So this whole conspiracy, the Succession, is actually based on the McMahons, because it's just every single thing seems to be this whole power play of Logan Roy being the Vince McMahon character on top of everything, and you've got all the kids and the various in-laws and the various the various staff members just trying to get in there and get an upheaval on the tyrant millionaire that's just not with it, but will not give up his position of power. And now all this sort of just happens. And also quite interesting that all this sort of happens with these affairs and things like that. And people are just randomly screenshotting and posting clips of Vince McMahon doing scenes with people like Tori Wilson, Dawn Marie. I don't get the link, personally.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, but the crazy thing with that is obviously that's his character. But there's been stories and things for years about Vince McMahon. And one of the things that jumped to me straight away is, I think earlier this year, Vince McMahon was on the Pat McAfee show, and there was this clip where he said about Linda McMahon, and he's just said, "Oh, my wife at the time." Well, my wife, and he kind of let something slip there. And then and I thought this at the time. I was like, "That's so weird." But then there was something literally today where it's I forget who was quoted, Rene Dupree or someone like this, was saying that he doesn't think that Vince and Linda have lived together for decades. So, if Vince McMahon... So here's the question I've got. If Vince McMahon and Linda are married but not living together, and Vince McMahon's had... It's not kind of an affair then, is it? So I think there's something... Has to pay off $3 million... There's got to be something slightly more dodgy to it than just an affair. Thoughts? It can't just be an affair, because if they don't live together, if they're effectively not married, unless she was just looking for some reason, but if they're separated and he's seeing someone else, I don't quite get why you'd pay someone $3 million.
I mean, unless there's something extremely dubious going on in the background. Like, has this resulted in something, or has resulted?
Whoa! A child, you mean?
Well, I mean,
Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle.
oh my god, more storylines being played off in real life. That's amazing.
Nia Jax sent out a tweet saying that
Something controversial.
yeah.
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. In our group chat, when someone mentioned about this earlier today, and I read Nia Jax, I thought Nia Jax was the woman, and I was like, no way.
No, not this type. Well, yes,
I don't know, Dave. It might be his type. You've seen his walk. That strut comes from something, you know.
Sorry, what were you going to say, TJ?
I was just gonna say Nia Jax. I'm trying to look for the tweet. She said she sent a tweet which was like interesting. I'm just trying to look for the tweet.
That's a nice change for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just totally utterly.
Andrew, do you have a take on this McMahon situation?
Not really, because I haven't really, outside of the headline, I haven't really sort of read the details, like the who's and the what's and the etc.
I found it. It's apparently on 30th of April she randomly tweeted, "It's a shame some people deserve to get the opportunity to shine like a star that they really are, but unfortunately certain higher ups can never see past their own perverted ways. Too bad. They aren't the lucky ones who can use blackmail to keep their jobs."
Wow. So blackmail? Is that what this is suggesting?
Some sort of, I don't know. This is so legally contentious. I'm not sure we should be talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like,
I just think this is a storyline, so I'm just discussing the storyline of the character Vince McMahon. So far, we've got that Hornswoggle may get another little brother. So, you know.
Or Austin Theory. This could lead to Austin Theory being Vince McMahon's son. That's why Vince has been favoring him so much.
Could be. Imagine, I would love if this just turned out to be a storyline.
That would be.
It's purely a storyline. They've just completely worked us. That would be brilliant.
We are discussing theories.
Isn't this the curse? Isn't this the curse of being like a hardcore wrestling fan, where you just see something in the news and you just think, "Oh, it's an angle. It's going to be paid off on TV and all that stuff."
Yeah.
Apparently, according to like latest report, I've just read that apparently for SmackDown this week, Laurinaitis and Vince are going to be there, and they just say, "Oh, it's back to business as normal."
Do you know what? Like, we all saw Vince at WrestleMania. The guy's 130 years old. Like, it's not really going to shake him at this stage, is it?
But what I think is about that. Like, it would be great if they worked this over, but WWE, I just don't see them, working into shoots or shooting into works.
I'd say it would just be an odd thing to do a work on.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes them look bad.
Yeah, out of all the things they could have done, this would have been pretty weird to work us over.
Hang on, TJ, just to interrupt there. Of all the things they could have done, this would have been weird. Vince McMahon is the one that wanted to turn out to be the father of Stephanie's baby.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
Vince was the one, he's the captain of the ship, the whole Katie Vick storyline. There have been a lot of very weird angles. Mae Young giving birth to a hand, you know.
He has a victory over the guy upstairs, so.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But to your point that you said that if Vince and Linda were separated, there's no gravity to this. I'm not sure how much this this will be a factor, but if I'm not wrong, Linda McMahon, she is a part of some political. She's a part of the Trump cabinet, right? And on paper, Vince and Linda, they're still married, I guess. They just don't live together. I don't know if them splitting up, if this is going to create some controversy, and maybe just to hide that they're. I don't know.
I think it's a case of just the matrimonial aspect of it. I think it's more to do with the legality aspect of it, and the fact that this Kevin Dunn report apparently means if he's found guilty, he could end up with 20 years in jail, and God knows what could happen to Vince this with all this sort of. It's just the fact that all this hush operation and everything like that, and all this money, it just makes them look so bad that it's not a case of how it looks like on television or anything like that. It's what actually happens to them, like legally in actual real life and things like that.
Okay,
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead,
serious
Andrew.
situations, almost like I say.
No, I was going to say Jim Cornette brought up an interesting point on his podcast about, how I think he was talking about the Sasha and Naomi situation, how WWE dealt with that, but with the Vince McMahon heel character, but also the whole over the past 20 odd years or however it's long, WWE is actively on television, portrayed themselves like the evil empire. Like a lot of people start to actually believe that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what I was going to say, just before we perhaps move on away from this for a short period at least, let's go with the idea that Laurinaitis, Vince, Kevin Dunn, they're all going to prison one way or another, right? Then what happens? Literally, just what happens then?
Khan's taking over.
Nick Khan. Is this when it turns out that he takes off a shirt and it's like an AEW shirt underneath?
It's a conspiracy.
Exactly, it is a conspiracy. TJ, I was saying earlier that we got into deep conspiracies last week, and this is much worse.
I'll tell you what'll happen. There'll be a triple threat match, a drop the soap match.
Winner doesn't go to jail.
I was going to say that I'm looking forward to Max Caster's rap on Rampage.
Have you heard it? I've heard it.
I haven't heard it, no.
Okay, I won't spoil it.
No, don't spoil it for me.
It's good. It's good.
We're going to have to look it up now.
Sorry, but literally they have shared it and it is good.
Oh, okay.
It's funny, I've seen that, but I haven't seen all of Dynamite yet.
There is something about this that the first thing that hit me was, WWE released quite a lot of talent, and they increased this person's salary. They gave her a promotion and apparently $3 million. Could this be the reason for a lot of those releases? Because some of those releases just did not make sense. If you remember, so if you remember, the reason they released Braun Strowman was that
Vince McMahon could sleep with what?
No. I mean, would you put it past Vince? But that's not what I'm saying. Because they wanted to sign Braun to another contract which paid him less money. And the fact that someone like Braun or someone like Bray, I know they literally always drop the ball with Bray, but they're such WWE guys. It's very difficult for the Bray Wyatt character to work in a place like AEW or somewhere else. Braun, he's such a WWE guy. And they released him. Could this be the reason for many of the releases?
Okay, so I don't quite connect the dots there. What is Vince McMahon sleeping with a paralegal?
No. So they needed not Vince McMahon sleeping with this person, but Vince McMahon paying this person $3 million.
So from what I understand, he did pay out of his personal funds. So, this may be why he closed down the XFL. He's like, God damn it! I think Dave is actually listening to the rap, isn't he? Yeah, it was good.
Okay, screw it. Where can I find it?
I don't know. As long as you don't play it out loud on the show. It's e-wrestling.
Sorry. My curiosity was too much for me there. Sorry.
I don't think Vince was releasing talent just so he could fund his affair. Yeah.
I think there's plenty in the profits to fund that.
Don't tell me about the rap. I'll listen to it after the show.
Okay.
I literally didn't. I was carrying on the conversation.
For God's sakes, Dave, don't say about that.
I literally said something about something and got accused of saying, "Don't say about this."
I get worried about spoilers.
Okay, so coming away from this for a moment, we kind of brushed past it. Do anyone have anything they want to say about the Jeff Hardy situation? For me, this situation is more sad than anything.
Yes, Jeff Hardy, fucking retire, please. I feel bad about saying that, but he needs to stop. And shame on Tony Khan for putting him in these fucking hardcore matches and ladder matches, things like that, knowing that he's a recovering addict. And we put him in these sort of matches like the match we had with Darby Allin, which didn't need to be a hardcore weapons match or whatever it was, things like that. And I don't think we did that match. He's not been the same since that match.
I agree.
What's that match against the Bucks at the pay-per-view just recently? as soon as he came out there, he was just totally. He just looked like he was gone.
Yeah.
He was late for spots. He was even his entrance. He was just wandering around really slowly around. I was like, is he all right? And yeah, there's just everything there. And I say this like with much sympathy. And I will admit right now, I could never like walked a mile in Jeff's shoes, in his shoes and everything like that. I respect the guy for everything he's done, but Jesus Christ, just if this is what you're going to constantly do, then just get yourself out of there and get yourself healthy and just this whole thing. I mean, that whole report about him leaving WWE because they asked him to check into rehab and he said that he didn't need it and all this other bits and pieces. And it seems to be the case that maybe they were actually right in this instance. They were worried about.
No, I completely agree with everything there, Dave. The only thing is, like, I don't know if he needs to retire, but I don't know. Obviously, WWE have got their wellness program and they send people to rehab and that. We don't quite know what the equivalent is in AEW, just in terms of what their responsibility is. Like, obviously, he's been in that match with Darby, and that he was about to be in a ladder match, and stuff that perhaps he shouldn't still be doing at this point. He doesn't need to, because he's Jeff Hardy. He doesn't need to keep proving himself like this. And he's a good enough in-ring talent without doing everything crazy, is the thing.
So, to agree with Dave, I think, like, again, it breaks my heart to say this, but I think Jeff Hardy... So, when you think of a Darby Allin versus Jeff Hardy match, the first thing that comes to your mind is a match filled with high spots. It's just... neither of them have to do all those high spots, but you don't go into a Darby Allin Jeff Hardy match expecting a technical masterpiece. You expect them jumping from places. Jeff has mentioned this before that like him getting into addiction, it was because his body couldn't take the toll of all these high risk moves and stuff. And if you remember back when in 2009 or 2010, when Jeff was the face of SmackDown, he was at one point possibly the most popular wrestler on the planet. He was probably bigger than John Cena. Maybe not overall, but in terms of like wrestling, in terms of like, or at least in par with John Cena. Like everyone everywhere were talking about Jeff Hardy. And then suddenly, just like that, he had that feud with CM Punk and he left. And then he went into addiction, and then even in Impact, the same thing happened. I think that Jeff, like you said, has nothing left to prove. The more he wrestles, I think, because I've actually... I know people who have dealt with addiction, and it's just not something that, okay, we tell them, let that go, and they let it go just like that. If wrestling is what is causing him to get into this dark path, I think he should, or at least for some time, he should just stay away from that, get better, and then see where life takes him. But I love Jeff Hardy. I loved watching him growing up. I don't want him to go out in a blaze of glory. I would rather have him retire, enjoy retirement with his family. Heck, AEW does a great job at with legends. They have legends in a post of managers. Jeff could literally manage a new team Extreme. Jeff could do stuff like that.
He could manage Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I think Spot's just opened up there.
You haven't watched Dynamite?
Yeah, I have.
You?
Yeah, I have.
Have.
That's what
that was literally what he was joking about.
Okay. So, yeah. So, yeah, he could do something like that. He doesn't need to do all these spots.
Yeah.
He could literally just take some time off.
Yeah.
Heal, do his music, do his art, do his whatever it is that he needs to do is great about it. He doesn't need to do wrestling.
I would like, selfishly, but I don't think it's that selfish, but I wouldn't like to see him retire with it just being like, oh, and this is like the end of his in-ring career story. I think he can basically have like at least one more run, and if it's a run that's 2 years or 3 years, and then if he wants to become a lot more part-time, because like I don't know what he like obviously he was announced for this AAA event, but I don't know how many independent dates he's doing. But I'd like to see him have a run as the AEW Tag Team Champions with Matt. I think that would be a nice accolade to add to everything they've done. But they don't need to wrestle like they did in 1999. They just don't need to.
Absolutely.
Like Matt, still obviously when it's these like a big show, will do some spots and stuff, but he doesn't wrestle the way he used to.
Yeah.
You know, he adapted what he did. You know, and so can he.
And you know the best part is I don't think we give Matt Hardy enough credit for how creative he can be. I'm sure Matt can just come up with a brand new direction for the Hardys. He did, and that was like the whole broken Matt thing. Yeah.
But you know,
I don't think
it didn't work in AEW.
If they do that again,
audience.
yeah, if they do that again, I don't know how much that'll work. He could come up with something similar, or he could do something like we give Chris Jericho a lot of credit for reinventing himself. Matt, he's also there. He might not be at a Jericho level, but he's also super creative. So they could do anything except for what they're doing right now.
Yeah. Okay, right. Let's move on from this. Let's do something a bit silly, unless there's anything major anyone's got on their mind too that we haven't covered, like news, anything from Dynamite.
Did you hear that there's a chance Sasha Banks might be released?
Yes, true.
So,
but then everything I'm reading seems to suggest that might not be accurate. So time will tell on that one. Time will tell. Okay, so the fun thing I've got prepared today, I have here the PWI 2001 Insiders Poll with 50 sizzling questions answered. So I figured we probably won't have time to go through all 50. But I'm going to ask you some of the questions, and we can see if we can guess what the correct answer is. Go on, Dave.
Can I offer a suggestion? When we finish the questions bit, can you read out a couple of the other answers and we try and work out what the questions are?
Ooh, okay, so say that again. I didn't quite get that. I like the idea.
Jeopardy. It'll be like Jeopardy. We give the answer and we have to work out what the question is.
Okay, I'll have to see.
After we've done the initial.
I don't know if it quite works like that. Let's just see, because it might. To give an example, it might say who gives the best interviews. So if I just say the answer, it might not. It might not work that way.
That's the fun part.
Right. Okay. Right. So, or I could say who the wrestler is, and you think what they won that year. But what I was also going to say is, as well as guessing what it was in 2001, like, I haven't read PWI, honestly, in years, like a new edition of it. But they might still do this, they may not. But we can also say who we think would win that award this year, in our opinion. Okay. So, I'm going to start here. If you could watch the matches of only one wrestler, whom would you choose? Now, this is for the main answer is for 2001, and then we can give some thoughts if it was today. In 2001, I will give you 3 points if you guess the winning answer, but I will give 1 point if you guess any of the runners-up, okay? Who would like to guess first? Dave.
2001, Rob Van Dam.
Okay, I will give you 1 point there, Dave. It is not the winning answer, but I can reveal here that Rob Van Dam was 5th on the list. 5th on the list with 11%. Okay, Andrew.
Not sure if this is a bit too early. Kurt Angle.
And let's have a look. Kurt Angle is not on the list, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Okay, TJ, do you have a guess?
I don't remember.
Oh no, we lost him.
Remember when he walked out, but I want to say Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I don't remember if it was, but I'm just gonna go with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Around, yeah.
Okay, Stone Cold Steve Austin is not on the list. I will reveal. Now, I won't go through these for all of them, but just to rattle off some of the people on the list. We have The Rock, we have Scott Steiner, we have Chris Benoit, the Hardy Boys.
2001, so was it Scott Steiner?
Hang on, Scott Steiner had 7%.
Is the Undertaker on there?
Triple H, the winning one with 21%, Yoshihiro Tajiri.
Oh wow, really?
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Scary, wow.
And it kind of tells you that at one point, WWE, I remember he was like in a main event, he was perhaps wrestling Triple H or Austin or something. They dropped the ball on him. They dropped the ball.
I remember I watched a match, a Tajiri match. I don't know which promotion, but it was not WWE. Wasn't a well-known promotion, but I don't even remember who he wrestled, but that was a pretty solid match.
It's a memorable match then.
Huh?
I don't remember who it was against. I don't remember where it was or when.
No. I was like at that time. I wasn't so much of a smart. I just found a match.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to see him use the green mist, so I just searched for Tajiri matches, and
All right.
I
always
loved
liked
that.
when he used the green mist and then the red mist, like a second later. It's like how did that color not mix into it? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's all to
magic.
do with like which capsules
Magic
used and
stuff.
all
Okay, so.
that.
So putting it to you guys very quickly, just because this is one question so far. If you could watch the matches of one wrestler today, in today's current lot, who would it be?
How do you mean? What's the matches of them? Do you mean like?
Okay, if you could watch the
That's for the
matches
rest
of
of
only
time.
one wrestler, obviously they would have an opponent, right? But so you would just see this wrestler's matches, whoever they're against each week or each month. These are the only wrestlers you get to watch. This is their question, so interpret it as you will.
At this point, considering that Roman Reigns took Brock Lesnar's schedule, I'll just say Roman Reigns to actually see him wrestle.
What? No, that's the wrong answer. That means you're going to see a wrestling match once every 3 months.
Oh, okay.
You want to choose someone like Ethan Page because he wrestles 3 times a week, right? Okay.
Okay. So the person that I choose does not wrestle more. I only
No,
see
they don't
their
wrestle
matches.
more. You only get to see this person's
Oh,
matches.
okay. Then definitely
I
not.
see, right.
Yeah. It's like
Oh,
saying
I'll-
MVP. You see one match in a year. Right, okay. Andrew, did you have someone?
Walter or Gunther, whatever.
Who was that?
You want
Gunther, Walter. Yeah, good choice. Dave, do you have a person you would choose?
I think once upon a time I would have said Walter. Well, I would have said Walter, not Gunther. But I would have said I think Pac.
Wow. Okay.
Not every single week, but when you do get a Pac match, it's usually watchable, very watchable.
He lost me.
Will Ospreay, yeah. I was going to say I might go for someone like the Young Bucks, because they've got the Hardy Boys on this list. So I would say a tag team. It gives you perhaps even a couple more options there.
Fair enough.
Just because you're going to get lots of matches that last about 20 minutes from a pay-per-view. Right. So anyway, moving on. Who is pound for pound the best wrestler in the world? 2001.
2001. Okay.
Okay, Dave.
2001 audience probably would have said, and I'm sorry for mentioning this person's name, Chris Benoit.
Is the correct answer there, Dave? Is the correct answer. 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Andrew and TJ, do you want to take a stab at getting those other points?
Well,
Going free.
2001.
I will start to rush you guys.
Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho is your guess. Is not on the list, TJ. Andrew.
Eddie Guerrero.
Who was that? Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero.
No, it's not on the list. I'll tell you who else we have. 2000. I think 2001. Was this when he got fired from WWE? Was out for a period? Maybe.
Still that audience would have been like.
Yeah. There was a period where he was out of WWE though.
He was, yeah. Right.
Okay, so we have Kurt Angle in second, RVD, Jeff Hardy, Lance Storm, Tajiri, and Scott Steiner. What? Well, I didn't know what to say about that.
I just realised 2001. This is before he's rejoined WWE, isn't it? It's not 2002 that he did that. And
Yeah.
Had a horrible run with Hunter.
Okay, so who is pound for pound the best wrestler in the world today? Very quickly.
Kazuchika Okada.
Okay, good choice.
Choice.
Any others?
You got a good. I mean, gotta say, I don't know, someone like Brian Danielson, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was going to say Daniels. Well, before the Blackpool Crumpet Club or whatever.
Crumpet Club.
No, when he,
Combat.
Combat Club, whatever they're called.
I mean, like the ones who are like in the consideration. Obviously, Danielson, Okada, Omega.
Moxley.
So who was that, Dave?
Moxley.
Moxley. I wouldn't quite put him in my list. but
I would put Adam Page on that list.
I wouldn't put Adam Page on my list.
No, if you're talking about pound for one, the best wrestler.
Well, if you're going
doesn't
pound
have
for
to have-
pound, you could end up with Marco Stunt.
True, but no, like has Adam Page, has he had one bad match? He might have not had a very good run, but has he had one bad match
See,
this year?
TJ, this comes into my just
Depends
because
who's
he
in the
hasn't
ring.
had a bad match doesn't mean automatically he's had a great match. I'd say he's a solid wrestler.
Has he had? He has had
Okay,
some
so
great matches.
his best match though was probably against Daniel Bryan, and I give that credit there to Bryan.
He also had a pretty good match against Lance Archer.
Do you know I missed it? Is that the Texas Death match?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I might have to-
which wasn't a Texas death match.
No, it was
Oh,
a
wow.
Texas death match.
Well, no,
By
I think,
name, but the actual, if you actually look at like the history of those matches.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So moving on. So,
No.
this one you can't actually guess an answer to, but I'll ask it to you guys anyway. Would you judge wrestling's immediate future as hopeless, cloudy, status quo, promising, or shining? Now,
it's
this
cloudy at
week
the
in
moment.
particular might
Hopeless.
lean in a different direction.
Cloudy.
Cloudy.
I'm gonna go with hopeless.
Okay. So, what do you think it was in 2001? You can guess actually. So the options are hopeless, cloudy, status quo, promising, or shining.
Oh wait, you meant right now? My answer.
I did
was
ask for right now. I did ask for right now, but you can guess.
My
out
answer
the
was
option.
for 2001.
Okay.
Hopeless.
Hopeless.
Well, I would say.
Yeah.
2001 would have been cloudy as well, because that would have been when ECW and WCW had folded.
Now, here's the interesting thing, though. Here is the interesting thing. This is the June 2001 issue, but it's an American magazine, and sometimes a June issue might come out 2 months earlier. It's very
So that would
weird.
have come out. So that would have been published and out just after Mania 17.
I assume if I go through this, it will suggest that WCW has closed down, but it may not. This may have been pre-written before that.
That's why so many people are saying Scott Steiner. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll try to check that. Okay, so anyway, the answer that they gave was status quo. So anyway, let's see if you guys can guess the answer to this. 2001. Who is wrestling's sexiest man?
Scott Steiner.
2001.
See, I knew if I'd said sexiest woman, we'd be like, oh, you can't objectify. But let's see if we can go
Scott
into...
Steiner.
Scott
Scott
Steiner.
Steiner. Yep.
Okay, that is your guess. And
Yep.
Scott Steiner is not on the list.
Whoa.
The big bad booty daddy.
Who objectively was a sexy wrestler back in 2001?
I remember that.
Well, you go for it, Andrew. I'm trying to think one.
2001, Jesus. When did this magazine come out?
In
Before
2001.
I mean, what part of the year?
Okay, it says June 2001. I'll try to look through. I haven't seen any evidence that this was... Because look, let's see if I can find out if it predates when WCW was sold.
Okay,
Chuck
well done.
Palumbo.
Chuck Palumbo,
Palumbo.
okay, is not on the list.
Alright, I'm going to give it another answer. I'm going to say Sean Stasiak, because he was meat, baby.
Okay, not on the list. No correct answers there. The winning answer was The Rock, guys. Come on.
Oh.
Okay, Jeff Hardy, Edge, Triple H, Jericho, Christian, Booker T, Shane Helms.
Sorry, Triple H!
Hang on, wait for it. And the best one, Brian Clark.
Chronic?
Yep. Okay. I won't necessarily. No, you know, I won't ask you to objectify people nowadays. So just purely from. Go on, Andrew. You've got an answer. It's like you say hook. You said hook. I thought you were.
No, as somebody that also has a big nose, I like the fact that Triple H is on that list.
Okay. Right. So who do you think? So in 2001, who was wrestling's sexiest woman? As according to the answers in PWI 2000.
I've come in with every first answer so far.
Trish.
Okay, so you've guessed Trish.
Yeah.
Gets you 1 point, TJ. She comes in second place.
Damn
Lita.
it.
Okay, what was that,
Lita.
Andrew?
Lita.
Okay, she comes in fourth place, getting you 1 point. So,
Okay, I'm gonna go Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson is not on the list.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, what was 2001
So, if
beauty?
you'd here was the cheat thing. If you'd looked at the front of the magazine, Major Guns was on the cover. Major Guns won this poll. There you go. Also on the list, though, we have Stacy Keibler in third place, Francine, China, Terry, and Dawn Marie. So there you go. Let's see if we get some more interesting questions.
That's interesting.
Okay, so this one we're only going to...
Andrew's
We've literally
concentration show, apparently.
lost. Yeah, we've literally lost them.
Has he
He's gone to look up photos of. Right. Okay. So anyway.
See, why is Tori Wilson not in the list?
Yeah. Okay. Who is wrestling's best TV commentator?
Oh, 2001 would have been. Oh, what?
Anyone?
That's say one name. I'm thinking. Oh no, he wouldn't have been part of it early enough. Oh, it would have been Jim Ross.
Jim
Yes,
Ross.
is the correct answer.
Yeah.
I'll share the point. You said it within a split second of each other.
That was the only answer, really, wasn't it?
It was
It's
the
either
only
gonna be
answer.
I'm going to be him or Joey Styles, probably. But
Who's the best? Who do you think is the best commentator right now?
right now, well, it's definitely not Jim Ross.
No,
Yeah,
it's
definitely
not.
not him.
No, it's not.
So what did I miss? I pressed the wrong
Okay,
button.
who do you think is the best commentator in 2001, Andrew?
Paul Heyman.
Is not on the list.
That's almost a mistake I made.
Okay, so here's the thing. With 1%, we have Scott Hudson.
Well, okay.
Well, do you know what? Like, this is the interesting thing. There are only so many commentators, so
Oh,
everyone
so,
gets
yeah,
on the
yeah,
list. Everyone gets on the list.
I just remember him.
Scott
from, like,
Hudson had to vote for someone.
I just remember Scott Hudson hosted like the highlight show that was on Channel 5 every week over here.
Well, the ones that would say splat and blam over chair
Apparently
shots.
so. I don't remember those bits, but I just remember him being like, because it would be like highlights of Nitro and Thunder, just put into this hour-long compilation on Friday nights and things, and just be Scott Hudson just doing new commentary. It's like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, let's have a look here. So, yeah, Jim Ross is the correct answer. Nowadays, I don't know.
I'm gonna. So I think the best commentator. I mean, it's not really fair because he doesn't commentate for every match. But I think William Regal for Blackpool Combat Club's matches. I love how he marks out, but in a very not like how fans mark out in a very serious, tough dad kind of way. So I really like him.
I like the fact that he's just brought the word tosspot to the international audience.
Okay, so this, in fact, these questions, I don't know when these questions were put, but to give you the example of the date of this magazine, question 11 is, will ECW survive another year? Okay, I won't award points for this because it's either a yes or a no, but what do you guys think was the vote in 2001?
Yes.
No.
It's probably yes.
It was no at 59%, only at 59%. Okay, let's have a look.
I'm disappointed then.
Which is the best weekly wrestling show on TV in 2001?
Raw.
Okay, do you say Raw there, TJ?
Yep.
Yeah, you get in quick, and I'm going to give you the points there.
On the list, then I will say I'll get a point. I'll have an extra one saying SmackDown.
Is this on the list? Andrew, do you have a guess?
Yeah, SmackDown.
Oh no, we've already had SmackDown.
Oh, what else was in 2001?
Nitro.
I don't think that was good at that point. But
How many wrestling TV shows were there?
Yeah, okay, Andrew, come on.
I'll just go Raw.
No, we've had that. Right, okay, no
Oh.
point, Andrew, no
Right.
point. Right, so also on the list, we don't have ECW on the list. But we have Raw, followed by SmackDown, followed by Nitro, followed by Sunday Night Heat, and then Thunder. So Thunder may have finished by the beginning of 2001, to be fair. So anyway. How long... Yeah, well, this really ages this. How long will it take Eric Bischoff to make WCW a serious rival to the WWF again? And the option...
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, the options were never, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, or it's there now.
Never.
You thought never?
I'll say 5 to 10.
Okay, and what would you say, Andrew?
What was the second one?
I don't remember the order I said them in.
Never.
So never,
Okay,
1 to 3
okay,
years,
never.
3 to 5, 5 to 10, or there now.
I'll go 1 to 3 years.
Andrew gets the points. Andrew gets the points. So that's what they said, but the others, you get 1 point each. So 1 to 3 years was the vote. Never was in just behind in second place. Let's see what other interest. Okay, where will Hulk Hogan finish his career? I won't give any options, so just you can answer this as you will. In prison.
Oh, well, my imagination's
In
running
prison with
wild now.
Vince.
In the
My
court.
imagination's running
in
wild
prison.
now, brother.
Yeah.
I'll go WWE or WWF.
Um, Yeah, I'll say Japan. Maybe some people like, oh, maybe some people run out. I'll say Japan.
Okay, TJ, do you have a guess on this one?
Prison. But WWF.
Yeah, WWF is what was said. So let's have a look there. It was only WWF and WCW. Japan wasn't even seen as a consideration of this.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Let's see. That none of these questions are that interesting, actually. What's WWF Okay, this one we can answer. What WWF versus WCW dream match would draw the most interest from fans? What do you think was the vote in 2001? And we can also answer it in a WWE versus AEW sense today.
Sting
Dave.
versus.
Dave first.
Sure.
Steve Austin versus Goldberg.
Is the correct answer we were looking for. Well done there, Dave. What were you going to say, TJ?
Sting versus The Undertaker.
Is not on the list. I don't think people did. I don't think people cared about that until like it was many years later. I don't think it was Dave, especially. Was that on people's radar back then?
I can't remember, but
I don't remember it as being.
Every time since I started looking at it, that's all anyone ever wanted was Sting and Undertaker. So I'm quite surprised at that.
Yeah, okay, Andrew.
Rock Hogan.
No, and again, even when that happened, to me, I was like, why isn't it Hogan and Austin? Was my honest thought at the time. When they brought in the NWO, I don't think that was on people's radar until it actually happened. But again, that's me remembering it now. The other ones were Triple H versus Goldberg and The Rock versus
Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner! Andrew, I'll give you a point there. Right. Yeah, Scott Steiner is all over this magazine. Okay, what would we say if we apply this same logic to WWE versus AEW today? What is the match? The dream match? I mean, in WWE, that Cody is pretty good. So I think maybe Cody versus MJF might be up.
Cody versus Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, that might be up there. Okay.
Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah, that might be the one. Or Roman versus Moxley. Oh man.
Oh man, never seen that before.
Roman versus Bryan Danielson. Oh.
Moxley versus Brock Lesnar. Let's get
that.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, what would you say?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say a dream match, but when Punk first returned last year, there is when it was really AEW or WWE or whatever. There is an alternative universe out there where if it had gone the other way, if Punk had come back to WWE, SummerSlam, Roman Reigns is in the ring with Paul Heyman, just defeated Cena, and then Punk's music hits instead of Lesnar's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just for utter just thinking it was House of Black versus Judgment Day.
Yeah. Oh, the original Judgment Day, or
Judgment Day, and if they hadn't done the ridiculous thing of having them turn on their leader, just had them all. The three guys and the one girl on each team.
Okay.
This is just one. This is not an AEW versus WWE dream match, and this might be from a very smarky point of view. But the one match that I really want to see, and that I am 99% sure will never happen, is a WWE New Japan match. It's Hiroshi Tanahashi versus John Cena, because they have such parallels, and I really want to see that match. But John Cena's never leaving WWE, and I doubt Tanahashi's ever going to WWE, so
yeah. I don't know if I've got an answer on that, because I'll be honest, some of the answers I might have said would have been Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega and stuff like that. Now we've had that. Honestly, I don't know who in WWE I'm desperate to see style wise go against. WWE, if you think about some of the guys that would do well in AEW style, is people like AJ Styles, and you saw some of those matches in Japan anyway.
I don't know if this match has happened or not, but what do you guys say to Bryan Danielson versus Walter? I don't know if it has happened before.
Oh, that is an interesting one.
It happened once many moons ago in WXW, and I think there's a compilation on the network of Bryan independent matches, but that was a long while before Walter became the Walter we know now, and gone through all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Much bigger. I just had in my head just a moment ago another one. We have AJ Styles against
Kenny Omega.
Has that not happened? That must have happened.
Nope.
Did that not happen in Japan?
Nope.
I think so.
So they were in the Bullet Club, and did Omega replace Styles?
He did, yes, but it was an angle, so
and then we never got a match.
No, I think we had a tag team match, but that was about it. It was
literally the day that AJ was leaving. So this thing was the day after Wrestle Kingdom, they did a tag team match, and and Omega had beaten Shinsuke Nakamura, who was the IC champion at the time. There, and then after the match, he turned on AJ, and that was AJ's last match.
Also, Finn Balor versus Kenny Omega, or Finn Balor versus Jay White, the original founder of the Bullet Club, versus possibly the person who's carrying the Bullet Club, or Kenny Omega, who has taken the Bullet Club to the highest of the highs. So Finn Balor could do with any of these, with either Kenny Omega or
Okay, moving on, because we'll start to run out of time quite soon. Who is the most underrated wrestler in the world in 2001?
2001.
Lance Storm.
Is the winning answer. Well done, TJ. Well done.
Cool.
3 points there. Lance Storm is the top of the list.
I'll go with Chris Kanyon.
It's not on the list. Good choice, though. Good choice. Not on the list. Andrew?
2001? I don't know.
No idea?
No idea.
Okay, I'll give you some that are on there. We have Raven, Crowbar, William Regal, which I find really... I know he never quite made it to main event proper status, but I never considered him underrated. Jerry Lynn, again, I think he'd been ECW World Champion, and C.W. Anderson, which I don't quite buy into myself, but... and Tajiri, which, if people, they say he's underrated, but they're also the person that they want to watch the matches of most.
Yeah.
I think people kind of confuse underrated and underused. Like, someone who's in the main event can be underrated because ratings is what the fans give. You can have someone who puts up very good matches, they're booked very well, but the fans just don't like them. For example,
like The Miz, would you say?
No, he's...
but he's someone people always roll their eyes at, and then people will compliment him in various ways.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like Miz, people do compliment him on his mic skills. His ring skills are like okay at best, but someone like
I'd say his ring skills are Jeff Jarrett at best.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. John Cena, who a lot of the internet, myself included, and Assad. This is a funny story. Like Assad and I became friends, hating John Cena. But if you look at some of his matches, if you look past that hate, he puts up decent to good matches. He's not a bad wrestler. He's not a Bryan Danielson, but he's also not Baron Corbin. So
yeah. Okay, so for this, just to answer quickly, who do we say is the most underrated wrestler in the world today?
It's difficult in this day and age because everyone who can rate will rate, and all that sort of stuff.
I have an answer.
Go on then.
Orange Cassidy.
What?
He does not get the love that he deserves.
He's too much love. Like, I don't have anything much against him, but
a lot of people do. A lot of the internet do. They don't like. So, spoilers for Dynamite. He had this face-off with Will Ospreay, and people immediately started hating it.
I saw that photo. They're not doing that as the pay-per-view, are they?
But now think about it though. That seriously, you've got this incredible talent that's in the wrestling world. That's he's known all over the world, and he's going to be. Everyone's thinking, what's he going to be part of? The Forbidden Door, and he's like this incredibly thing that everyone's tense and thinking about. Who's he going to be against and all that sort of stuff. And they reveal it on Dynamite, and he gets Will Ospreay. I mean, what's the point of that? I mean,
Okay. Any other nominations for the most underrated wrestler today?
I would say I don't know if he's underrated, but again, I'm going by your point, DJ, being underused and all that sort of stuff. Maybe Buddy Matthews or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, and I would say he's underused because he literally had his first singles match in AEW like just last week against Pac, and I was quite surprised by that stat. I was like, hang on, you've not used him in singles yet, and all that sort of stuff. But then that could be me mixing up with underused, like TJ says.
I'd also say Ricochet is very underrated.
Ricochet crossed my mind, but I feel like he's someone that was incredibly highly rated, and now he's just been beaten down into being fairly meaningless.
I don't think he's underused at all. I just don't think he makes the best of his opportunities. He's not a good promo. He doesn't have a discernible character to him. He literally won the IC title because it was a means to an end with the feud that Sammy was having with Johnny Knoxville. And, and the first thing that happens when he actually defends the title is he loses it to Gunther. I mean,
I mean, he had a pretty solid character back in Lucha Underground. As
but that wasn't Ricochet, though, was it? It was.
But then even in the Independence, when he was King Ricochet, they never exactly let him be King Ricochet. He was just some guy who could flip a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I saw him on the Indies a fair few times, and over here, and he's a very good in-ring competitor. But that's all you need to be in that situation. When he's on television, it's a different matter, and he's never been good on the microphone. I think
Definitely.
Okay. Moving things on. Who in 2001 to begin with, but obviously get your thinking caps on for nowadays. Who is the most overrated wrestler in the world in 2001?
2001.
Now, this is. Was that TJ?
Bill Goldberg
is not on the list. 2001. He wasn't really overrated. He did what he did. What'd you say, Dave?
Triple H
is not on the list. Andrew,
really?
Do you have a guess? I think you're going to enjoy a lot of this list, though.
2001.
Yeah.
Overrated. I don't know. There's only a definition of overrated. I mean, there's who you like and who you don't, but I don't know.
Okay. Excellent contribution there, Andrew. Right. Okay. So, what we have here, I will give this full answer here because it is a controversial topic. And at the bottom with 3% was Steve Corino. I can understand it in 2001, world champion. Perhaps people didn't buy it. Kane is next, and again, I think in 2001 he's only about 3 years into the gimmick, and so he's still kind of riding off the whole Undertaker coattails a little bit. Sandman is next. If people just don't buy into the hardcore stuff again, China is next. I feel that's a bit unfair. I feel that's unfair. This one I don't agree with is Steve Austin. Steve Austin is that one is someone that is a hate vote. Whoever did that. Then we have
just come back.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have Sting, which again I've never been against Sting, but now we get into what I can understand. In third place with 13%, we have Marcus Alexander Buff Bagwell. In second place with 17%, we have Big Sex 8 Kevin Nash, which again I can understand being on this list.
Yeah.
And in first place with 21%, I wouldn't quite say it nowadays, but I always can understand this one, we have Badass Billy Gunn. Which, this was when they gave him King of the Ring, and the thing that struck me about Billy Gunn in that time period, as soon as they took him out of a tag team, he sucked. He was not a good singles wrestler, one of the greatest tag team wrestlers, but as a singles act, it just flopped so hard.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the timeline now, because I'm pretty sure that was when he was out with an injury for a lot of 2000s.
Who, Billy Gunn?
And he came back, and he absolutely sucked. He was not in good condition.
That happens to quite a few people. I even remember when Triple H came back from the big quad injury. He had that good match with Shawn Michaels, but everything, the Jericho feud, everything fell flat for me. So, anyway, who would we say is the most overrated wrestler in the world today?
Oh, that's one. Oh God! I've been.
Ooh, you're saying Omega, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's terrible, but I do think he's overrated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
It's hard. Let me just say on Omega. I think it's hard when you get a guy where people say he is literally the best wrestler in the world. Because if you don't think he is, then by definition you think he's overrated. But I think Omega's. I think he's very good. Generally his matches, I enjoy them.
So I've got two that suddenly come to mind. First one, I think it's will spark a bit of a topic with you, is Cody Rhodes. I think he's massively overrated. And the second one is a female wrestler who I've never seen the infatuation by. Let's say Mercedes Martinez.
Okay.
Don't get it.
Okay.
Don't get it.
Okay. TJ?
I'm going to go on the other side of what Andrew said, and I'm going to go with Roman Reigns.
Okay. Why Roman?
I have reasons. I have my reasons. So, Roman Reigns, for the longest time, people want him to turn heel, and he did not. And then when he did, there was like huge hype around it, and fairly so. Reigns, he has improved a lot on the mic, and his character work is pretty good. But if you take that away, his character work is actually a part of the hype, and I think if you take away, like, if people did not want him to turn heel, his heel turn would have been average at best. I still think his match with his entire feud with Jey Uso was amazing, but again, if you take that away, I think he's okay in the ring. He's not the best. He's not nearly. I wouldn't even say he's amongst the top 10 wrestlers in the company that he is in. But again, same way like Omega. The way Omega stands think he's the best wrestler on the planet. Roman Reigns stands think that he's the best thing that has happened to wrestling, and I disagree. I don't think he's among the top 10 best things right now.
See, the thing I would say, I feel that Roman and Omega, I can understand why both of them would be called overrated, because they're kind of like the guys at the top of the companies they're in. I would have said Roman Reigns was very overrated until his heel turn, where I finally feel that he figured his character out. He was in a character he was comfortable in, and he was finally earned his position. But for the years they were trying to make him like the top babyface, I'd say he doesn't really belong in this position. And I'd say, well, you look to the other guys in the Shield, and Dean Ambrose at the time and Seth, I'd say, were both better than him. Now I feel that Roman's character finally justifies his position, and I think he is good enough in the ring. He's believable, as I believe. He's a big guy. I believe what he does, and so I'm happy with him in that position. But obviously,
I am as well. Like I said, his feud with Jey Uso was, in my opinion, probably one of the best things in wrestling. But now, after that, if you go a few months later, right now, I don't think he's doing much to call himself the best in the world.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with obviously since the Brock Lesnar feud ended.
No, I'm talking about before the Brock Lesnar feud.
For me,
even before that.
For me, and this may be slightly controversial because she is very good. For me, Charlotte Flair has always been overrated. She's good, but she is literally just the mystique around her is just Ric Flair's mystique. She never came in and did anything that was so wow. It was not even woo. But okay, moving on from this, let's ask one more question because we're going to run out of time. And let's see if we've got a good question or a weird question to ask. There's some good questions here. I should have started at the back. Well, I'll ask this question first. Who is wrestling's most promising new star? Who is wrestling's most promising new
Brock
star?
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. Oh, sorry, I was thinking of this year still. Okay. Brock Lesnar. It's a bit early for Brock on the list.
Shit.
I think he was 2002, in fact.
Right.
Dave.
Yeah.
Going by some of the votes we already had, Tajiri.
Scott Steiner. No, okay. Let's have a look. No, Tajiri again. I don't know. He'd been around in ECW a little while, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Andrew.
Trying to think. 2001. I don't know.
It's a super. Kurt Angle again. He'd been around for about a year and I think he may have even been world champion by this point.
Yeah,
I'll give you the entire list because it's interesting. Just in terms of not very many of these actually became to anything. In last place with 1%, I don't think he'd obviously been on the main roster yet because, or maybe he had, but it's Shelton Benjamin with 1%.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With 6%, Stacy Keibler, and truthfully, she's had one of the better careers out of anyone on the list.
To be fair, yeah, but yeah.
In 6%, and this tells you about the timing of it, it's the Haas brothers. So obviously Russ Haas he didn't survive long enough to make it to the main roster.
Well, no, because you know what happened to it.
Well, he passed away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that's where
Well,
when I said he didn't survive long enough.
There's a very good reason for that.
Yeah. Okay. 12% we have K-Quick, which is obviously R-Truth. And I don't know, he's a big star of WWE, but he's ended up becoming this comedy character. And for a fleeting moment, he could have been a serious, main event talent. Then we have 14%, scoring better than either Ron Killings or Shelton Benjamin, or even Stacy Keibler or Charlie Haas. We have Mike Sanders.
Above average.
I know. Okay, then we have 15%, and this one is deserving as the highest one that did well, Trish Stratus. So fair enough there. With 15%, we have Mark Jindrak. And with 18%, we have Sean O'Hare. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
Yeah.
Right. So
potential.
that whole new blood, WCW they just flew everyone out of the power plant before they were ready because they wanted to show that they'd got young guys, and none of them were ready.
Oh, Sean O'Hare had so much potential, and they just.
I can't remember what happened with him.
He was doing all these promos, like he just quoted all these promos. It's
Was
an interesting character.
Yeah.
By the time they got to main roster, for some reason they paired him with Roddy Piper. And it just destroyed him. He just didn't recover.
Oh wow!
They then decided he was a fan of spiders, or something like that, and then they released him.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just remember him going out for a match and Michael Cole going, "Oh, this guy is he really likes spiders." I was like, what? This is his new character? He likes spiders?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, let's see if we've got one more question from the remaining things.
What about today?
Oh yeah, go on. Answer today. Answer for today. I forget what the question was, but answer for today.
Theory.
Promising new star.
Wheeler, Utah, and Showdown Mino.
I was going to say really is, yeah.
I'm going to give the bold prediction, and I think Wheeler Yuta has reached the height that he's ever going to reach. Which doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. He may float around the mid card forever. I don't think he's ever going to go further in AEW, and I don't think he'd ever be used in WWE.
I discovered about 2 weeks ago, that a couple of years ago, I seen Wheeler Yuta live, and I didn't know I had done because he was under a mask.
Yeah, it's so weird when that happens. It was only many years later that I realised that I'd seen The American Dragon and realised who it was. Right, okay. So, let's have a look.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
One more. I can't believe none of us said MJF.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, does he still count as promising new star 3 years into AEW?
Okay, fair
He's
enough.
been big part of AEW for the last
I think that Ezekiel seems quite good.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't see it myself.
No.
I think he needs to grow a beard and get a guitar.
I so hope. Look, who saw with Raw this week? They're going to bring back Elias next week. Elias is coming back next week.
Is he literally going to come out in a fake beard? Is that what they're going to do?
No,
I
hope they have. I hope he's actually got a twin brother no one knew about. When the Bellas debuted, no one knew there was two of them. Imagine if they've kept this under wraps.
Well, what's interesting is when they announced that, I think I read Damien Sandow trended on Twitter or something.
Damien Sandow.
Damien Sandow.
Didn't he just retire then? Didn't he literally
They do
just...
look at each other.
Although, him just retiring...
Exactly.
Oh,
wow, that would be amazing.
I would love that, and he's just his stunt double.
You know what? That would get me watching Raw again.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. It's obviously good. Well, okay, promising new star is Bron Breakker, I think.
Yeah.
He is gonna. As long as Vince doesn't end up in prison, he will be the world champion by next WrestleMania. Right. Okay. Let's have a look for a final question. Actually, all these questions suck now. Right. Okay. Which is the riskiest maneuver? We've seen a few of these recently. Which is the riskiest?
2001.
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot to check their answer. I just was asking for today. Let's see what they say. I can imagine what is the riskiest maneuver, and it's like 1978, and it would just be the DDT, or it would be like the lariat. All right, riskiest
Goldberg's
maneuver.
spear.
Of 2001,
Yeah.
riskiest.
Riskiest or most devastating? Like,
Riskiest is the question.
okay,
I don't know. Pile driver.
No, and in fact, they do have a separate question for what is the best pile driver variation, for which Rhino's second turnbuckle pineapple driver, pile driver 1. Triple H's pedigree, they count that as a pile driver. I understand why, but I wouldn't have classed it that way. Okay, any guesses for 2001, or what would you say is the riskiest manoeuvre today?
I would say the Swanton Bomb.
Oh, in 2001 is not on the list. Could have been, because interestingly, Matt Hardy...
Off of a ladder?
Yeah, okay. Matt Hardy's moonsault press to the floor is on the list.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I don't especially remember it.
He pulled it out every now and then. But...
Yeah, like, moonsault press, is that literally just going to be where he's got a
the
guy
F-side,
like...
Yeah, the F-side moonsault, yeah.
I'm gonna go with the jackhammer.
No. Right, so we have Grand Suzuki's Suzuki Special 2, which I don't remember what that is. We have...
that's the one he does the cartwheel and then the backflip out.
Okay, I'm going to have to look a lot of these up, actually. Because I do know the... Well, you will know who the top one is. Dragon Kid's Dragon Rana, so I guess it's...
Oh, that's a great move.
Yeah. Ricky Marvin, don't know who that was. Spaceman Corkscrew Plancher. I think we do need to look these up. But number 1 is Jody Fleisch's Shooting Star Press to the floor. So how about that?
I've seen that live. I have seen that live, baby. It's a thing of
So have I. Jody Fleisch is like, he's one of these guys that just never got a chance, and I think he got injured.
No, but he's still going, and he never ages. He's looking good.
He doesn't age, but he had a period where he had to retire. Did he not?
Yeah, he had time off. I thought it was an injury, and he actually personally corrected me on Twitter saying my knee's never been a problem and things like that. But yeah, he had to
Okay. Right, so anyway, we've run out of time to do impressions because we've got another show coming up. But, okay, so what I'll say, to get the last points, you can each choose an impression to do. One impression.
Can we choose an impression for the other people?
What? No, because then you'll know who it is. Right, okay, so who would like to go first? Okay, TJ.
You're hired as long as you bang me.
Yeah? Well, that was your impression of me, right? Right, okay, so I think we all know who that was. Anyone want to take the guess to get the points?
Let's not tell them how I got this job, David.
Sorry, man. Sorry, my bad.
Tell them that.
So that was Vince. I'm going to give you a point for that, TJ, since no one else is going to guess it. Right.
Well, you might as well give yourself a point there as well, David.
Well, we'll then. Right, okay, Dave, do you have an impression for us?
Yeah, it's a bit of an old school one. Okay. Cut the fucking music!
What? Rick Rude?
No.
What? Who said it like that? Gosh.
Alright, let me give you another one.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you another one. From the Ric Flairs to the Ricky Steamboats, you can all kiss my ass!
Oh, Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas.
Well done. That's quite good. That's very good.
What was the first one?
They were both Shane Douglas. Right? Okay, Andrew, do you have one?
Douglas.
I'm gonna get one
Yeah, I have one.
randomly from this magazine, so you'll know it's from 2001. But Andrew.
I dare you to fire me, you fucking Mark.
MJF? Right. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to choose one here. So whoever I've got on this page, first time I see
I dare you to fire me, you fucking
a photo of someone. Oh my god. Right. Does this guy really ever cut promos?
Okay.
Hey, that's cool.
Rob Van Dam.
Yes! There you go, Dave. Well done. Never let him
I had
speak.
a premonition of that. I thought you were just going to go...
Really? Okay.
That's weird.
Wow, what can I say? That was a one-of-a-kind impression. Okay, so that is going to wrap things up for Slam Jam Show tonight. Really good one today, guys. Really good one. Where can we find you, Andrew?
You can find me here for Xstreamed.
Okay, TJ, where can the people find you?
You can find me in my mom's basement because wrestling fan.
Okay, my name is David Pistansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Pistansky. But our Slam Jam champion of the week is Dave. Where can the people find you?
You can find me. Well, I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm not in my mum's basement, so I'm bucking the trend. Find me in my own house in Westcliff, and find me at DeGreeno on Twitter and David Anthony Green everywhere else.
Awesome. So with that, from me, from everyone else, stay safe, always stay extreme, keep slamming and jamming. And I didn't check to see if there's any breaking news, which I am going to do. We always miss it. Every single show, there's some breaking news. And Vince and Linda McMahon's penthouse in Stamford, Connecticut appears to be for sale. Genuine news. Breaking news.